empathy and cowardice. Why is untethered empathy so destructive? In the last chapter, we noted the way that weaponized pity or empathy can be used to manipulate others. At the extreme end, we can think of the way that the transgender movement uses the prospect of suicide to manipulate parents into affirming their child's gender identity. Would you rather have a dead son or a live daughter? This is a hostage situation filled with manipulation. John Piper calls this emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail happens when a person equates his or her emotional pain with another person's failure to love. They aren't the same. A person may love well and the beloved still feel hurt, and use the hurt to blackmail the lover into admitting guilt he or she does not have. Emotional blackmail says, if I feel hurt by you, you are guilty. There is no defense. The hurt person has become God. His emotion has become judge and jury. Truth does not matter. All that matters is the sovereign suffering of the aggrieved. It is beyond question. This emotional device is a great evil. I have seen it often in my 3 decades of ministry, and I am eager to defend people who are being wrongly indicted by it. When these dynamics are present, empathy often leads to cowardice, to an unwillingness to say, even in a general way, anything that might cause distress to others, and particularly to those who have been hurt. Out of a good and sincere desire to protect victims of trauma and abuse, certain topics and truths are ruled out of bounds. They must not be discussed, or they must be discussed only with layers upon layers of qualifications, because of the possibility that the discussion might cause further distress to those who have been hurt. In the grip of empathy, we're unable to distinguish between the distress of others and harm to others. And out of a good desire to avoid causing harm, we commit to not saying or doing anything that might cause distress. In such an environment, our ability to speak the truth contracts and constricts, sometimes under pressure from highly empathetic people. And as Lewis said, sorrows that used to purify now only fester. But lest we think that empathy is a danger only when faced with genuine suffering and hardship, consider the ways that abusers manipulate the feelings of their victims. Having committed some grievous sin, they say, "Don't tell anyone. If they found out, I'd be in so much trouble." This is a direct manipulation of the empathy of a victim. And the manipulation doesn't stop there. Abusers very often play on the soft-heartedness of churches and communities in order to evade responsibility for their actions. They redirect attention away from the suffering of actual victims to their own suffering as perpetrators, counting on our empathetic emotion sharing to suspend our rational judgment about what should be done. In such cases, churches don't suffer from a lack of empathy so much as a radically misplaced empathy. Ensuring that our feelings are directed in the right place requires that we maintain the appropriate emotional boundaries so that we can think clearly and rightly about our particular situation. In other words, compassion, with its insistence on self-differentiation and concern for long-term good, is what is needed.